And we're back with another edition of the All Beef No Filler podcast. I'm your host, Pascal Paul, Director of Scouting for Prep Baseball Nebraska, joined by Zach Wehner, head coach of Malcolm Baseball, the back-to-back defending champ Malcolm Clippers baseball program. Welcome, Coach.
Thanks for having me, Pascal.
Pleasure to have you on. Obviously, someone like you and your program has won a lot early. What's it like being back-to-back champs?
It was a great feeling. All season long last year, kind of felt like we had that target on our back that, everybody was out for us, obviously, after winning the championship previous year. And then the success that the boys had, even in Legion baseball. Just going through the whole season there, it was a very special year. It was very exciting the whole year. Boys are great, great work ethic, and it was just a fun season.
You've done it once. I've coached where we've had some success, and it's tough to keep, the success the next year. You did it once, won, did it. How are you going to keep those kids hungry and wanting more? Some of those kids that all they know is state championships in your program.
Yeah, that's, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. We've had the talk as coaching staff, like, these boys they're just used to winning and they don't know any different. And that, it comes natural for them. They've been pretty successful even in their younger years before they got into high school. But it really shows. I mean, we've had games before where most teams would just lay down and be like, game's over. Even state championship game last year. I mean, the crazy comeback in the bottom of the seventh to win it. Those guys just never give up. The previous year, we had a tight game against Wayne, ended up going 9 innings. And the whole time the mentality was, they were like, we're going to win this. We're going to win this.
I would say as a former coach, it's a lot easier, I think, or want to teach some toughness and teach some want to than it is to try and teach how to win. It's hard to figure out how to win. And you guys know how to win. You guys, like you said, come in and whether you're down 10 or 5 or up 6, they expect to win, which I think is tough.
Yes, it is very tough. And we're very fortunate right now that the boys that we have that mindset. And we even saw it last year. We had a good group of freshmen come in that had some success, in pony ball, and some of them were playing travel ball, but weren't ever winning championships. But the upperclassmen just kind of embedded into their mind that you're going to win these games. JV reserve games, you better be winning these games.
And that's, as you know, Coach, that's to have sustained success over multiple years, especially in a game like baseball where there's so much failure. You need your players to show the younger players how it's going and how it's going to be in order for you to keep having that success.
Yes. Yep. So the upperclassmen are huge for us right now.
You've had so much, I'm going to say success about 3 times in this sentence. You've had so much success so early in your tenure there. It's your 4th year, 2 state championships. What do you attribute that to? How have you found so much success so early?
Tell you the first year that we had, so before when we were co-oping with Raymond Central, they had a good, decent team. And then when we broke apart, it was kind of the seniors that we had. We only had 3 seniors that year, and we had a couple juniors that just really stepped up. And even before the season started, they came in and talked with me and just said, we're going to be really good, but we got to make sure we work our butts off in the off season. And, they put in the work. I got kids that ever since we started just the Malcolm program that are, seeing their hitting coaches, seeing pitching coaches all winter long, putting in extra work. We got guys that are, a majority of our basketball team plays baseball. We got a majority of the guys that are after basketball practice are heading into Lincoln, heading into Elkhorn, going to see their pitching coaches, going to see their hitting coaches. We have a new hitting facility here in Malcolm that has a couple pitching coaches and a couple hitting coaches up there. And, some of our players are just putting in a lot of work with those guys individually on their own time. I mean, they're spending their money. They're going up there, putting in the work and just want to become better. And I think that first year that we had when those seniors came in and talked about that, they kind of met with the team before the season started, said, hey, this is a sport that we are successful in, from previous years. We got to put in this extra work just to make this next step. And it just really took off. I mean, there was huge excitement for it. And the boys took it and just ran with it.
Kudos to you and those seniors for getting this ball rolling, because, man, it doesn't look like it's going to stop. Unfortunately, or fortunately, you're going to have to replace a very, very good arm on the mound that I think was or has been one of your top guys, and one of the reasons that you've had such success in Maddox Meyer. How are you guys gonna do that, and what different ways?
We've been talking about that. Maddox was something pretty special. I mean, even his first year, we were just Malcolm. He was only a sophomore, but he threw quite a few innings for us. He's great. I mean, he's a field position player too. I mean, obviously in college he's going to be pitching, but we had to rely on him in the field. But it was special last year. I mean, he was on the mound. We kind of joked around last year that our ins and outs last year when he was pitching were sloppy. They were bad because it was almost like the team was relaxed and like, well, we're not going to get very much action today. We're just going to sit back and be watching him pitch. So coming in this year, it's going to be a challenge for us. We got some good guys coming up. Carson Frank, Mason Wisniewski. We kind of talked about them being, 1A, 1B almost. We aren't going to have that ace to start off the season like we did with Maddox. And I think we got some younger guys that are going to be stepping up and taking up some innings. If Maddox was pitching, there weren't very many games there where he wasn't throwing the complete game this year. We hope that we have some guys step up that are able to do that, but it might be more pitching by committee where we have a few guys come in, take a couple innings and then finish with our closer.
I remember the first time I saw Maddox, it was a state tournament. I think it was my second year doing this, and just the whippy arm, it was coming out. I had never seen him before. I think he was 83, 84 and warm-ups. I'm looking around, who is this guy? And all of a sudden, 85, 86, 87. I'm like, yeah, this dude's going to be a guy.
Yes.
And yeah, there was no doubt that he absolutely, him and that slider dominated his opponents. And it didn't matter if he told them it was coming. They couldn't hit.
Yes.
Yeah. You mentioned a couple of guys, but you got 4 seniors that we have ranked in our rankings, but I think are probably the nucleus. Mason Wisniewski is who I think he's one of the top hitters in the state. From pure hit tool. I think he could do it with just about anybody.
Yes. Mason, he's one of those boys that he plays baseball 365 days a year. Like his the only other sport he plays is football, which he's a extremely good football player. But he's always putting in the work. They got hitting nets in their garage with holes all over the walls from balls missing the nets. And he's a guy that just, he is a down-to-earth kid and just works extremely hard. He's one of the kids that's going different places for lessons and, just working to become better.
I've been around him a little bit in the dugout. He just seems like he's very relaxed, always has a good attitude in the dugout.
Yes.
The other 3 guys, Logan McGreer, Garrett England, and Carson Frank. Talk to me a little bit about what those guys are going to bring to the table and how their leadership has evolved from the younger days to now.
Okay, so we'll kind of start with Logan. Logan uses his speed quite well. He did not play high school baseball until last year, so his junior year he was a track runner before, and then he's playing Legion baseball, and then he came up to me about winter last year and said, I really like baseball. I kind of want to look maybe doing that at the next level. I think I'm going to talk to the track coaches and give up track and go for baseball. And I wasn't going to argue with him at all about that.
You'll take that speed for sure.
Yes, exactly. So, coming in last year, you could tell with high school baseball, he was a little hesitant at first to try to be a leader. But as the season went on, he just kind of fit into the place. He kind of took over being, one of the leaders of the junior class. And he found a coach, one of our assistant coaches that he kind of really connected with. And they were spending a lot of time after practice, in the cages, working on his swing, with the speed. They were working on, putting down some bunts, just ways for him to get on base. And even this off season, he's been working his butt off. He's been going up to the batting cages. He doesn't do a winter sport, so he usually goes right after school, goes up and gets some hitting in. And he's really taken off this last year.
He's committed now, right? Correct?
Yes, yep. So he did commit to Ellsworth Community College.
Yeah. Yep. I'm good friends with the head coach there, and I remember him coming and talking to me about him because I believe Logan came to our state games as well.
Yes. Yep.
I
So
think it's something
yeah.
that I think you might have reached out to me mid-season, was like, hey, make sure you take a look at this guy. I think he has really a chance to play college baseball. And then he comes there, and I remember the Ellsworth head coach, who I'm good friends with, raving about his athletic ability, and just like, dude, who is this guy? I have not seen him play. I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, nobody has.
Yep. Yep. He was definitely one under the radar, and I think just committing to playing high school ball along with Legion ball, that really helped him out.
That's a crazy story. Just wanting to play it, and all of a sudden he's committed to a junior college, and gonna see where that career can take him.
Yes. Yeah. So the next one, Garrett England. Garrett is just one of those solid baseball players. Early on, his sophomore year, he just couldn't miss the ball at practice, and when we were scrimmaging or anything, we just had to find a spot for him. So we had an opening in right field, and he had played a little bit of outfield before, but being a lefty, he was more. This would be my first or batting lefty. He's like, I've been playing first base my whole life. So we kind of stuck him out there, and he's that guy that has some power, but he's gonna put the ball in play. He's had at bats where we kind of just joke around. He has 12 pitch at bats just because he keeps fighting everything off. So he's really been working. We did transition him back to first base last year, and we kind of like having the more athletic first baseman, and he really fit that mold that we wanted there.
There's one nod to younger players. If you can hit, you're going to find your way into the lineup. If you can find a way to get on first base consistently or put the ball in play with some authority, they're gonna find a spot for you, whether it's right field or DH or first base. We'll find you something out there.
Yeah. Yep. That's right. So, and then the last one you talked about there was Carson Frank. Carson and Mason both have started for me since they were freshmen. We had, back to Mason, we had him start at first base, and we transitioned him over to third base. Carson has always just kind of been our middle infielder. As a freshman, even a sophomore, he was more second base, unless our shortstop, like Maddox last year, with our shortstop, Maddox was pitching. We had to move Carson over to short. But very athletic up in the middle. Him and Mason, like I said, are going to be our 1A, 1B pitchers as the season goes. He's really worked on things. He committed to Concordia to play baseball next year.
One of the top NAI programs in the country.
Yes. Yep. So, and he's pretty excited about that. And, he's been working one of our, leading scorer basketball this year. And, he talks about, hey, basketball practice is over. I got to go hit for a little bit now.
This one thing I think Concordia is going to run just like lighting on wildfires, because two-sport athlete, athletic kid, and they do such a good job of actually developing people and getting in there and making sure those kids are working and on the right stuff and getting better.
Yes.
So I think it's a great get for both sides. And
yes, I agree. Yep.
I know those guys are going to lead the way. They're going to, throw and be counted on for the large portion of the at-bats and the innings. Do you have anybody on your team that's maybe a little bit under the radar, committed or getting recruited right now? Some of those upperclassmen?
Not really with any more upperclassmen. I mean, we got about 4 other ones. We got Cole Tiedemann. He came, played with us. He's kind of more committed to the football side right now. He committed, I can't even remember what school it was, but he did commit to go play football next year. But baseball is a sport that, he uses his speed at. He'll be one of our outfielders this year. Really kind of started coming around with his bat last year, late in the season. So he's one that we'll be leaning on. And then just kind of, we have Tristan Bailey, Chris Burbach, and Caden Robotham, 3 more seniors that, we got probably one outfield spot that those 3 are going to be fighting for. So it's going to come down to who's hitting and when they're hitting. To see who's going to be playing that.
One thing is, if you have guys, ups and downs of a season, one guy might start there, but he might go into a slump. Next guy picks it up. So that's where the whole team aspect comes into play.
Yes. Yep.
Who are you excited about in the underclass? Who, winter workouts, you've gone through the fall. Obviously, you might not see him like hands-on as much, but who's really impressed you and who are you excited about from that underclass?
So kind of looking at our juniors right now. So we have Brixton Meyer, so Maddox's younger brother. Brixton he'll be filling some innings for us pitching wise. Right now, not as dominant as Maddox. But he's getting there. He puts in the hard work. He's probably going to be fighting for starting catcher position. He can play some infield for us. We might have to have him playing third base if Wisniewski's pitching. But really, last year Brixton, he found that spot by getting in base, so he was starting right field for us last year. Just because he can find ways to get on base. As a freshman, he was always our courtesy runner, extremely smart base runner, and better speed. But just his knowledge of the game really helps him out. And then we got Chase Smith, another junior. Chase has really been working hard. He puts a ton of time in the off season. He plays basketball also, but baseball is his sport. That's where he wants to be. He's going to be throwing some innings for us this year. He's another one that, with Maddox pitching, Chase was playing shortstop. There were times when Carson was pitching last year, Chase was in there playing second base. So he's another middle infielder. Bat wise, about halfway through the season, his bat started getting hot and he started putting the ball in play. And then the other junior that, we're seeing some promise from is Justin Wisniewski. So Mason's younger brother. Last year he was DH for us. And we kind of joked, all season, like, man, he would be starting for a lot of teams around the state. But defensive wise, we were pretty loaded. So he was more of a DH role for us throughout the whole season.
What position does he profile as for you defensively?
He plays third base and first base, and we're going to work him some outfield just to see if maybe he's going to be the one that takes that spot that we have open in the outfield.
Yeah, sounds like you got a lot of competition, good competition around the field, which you can't ask for anything else in defending that state title for the third time.
Yes. Yep. We got a lot of competition. We told him it's going to be a lot of number crunching before the season, first game of the season.
Well, Coach, you've done a lot of winning in your career and you back-to-back state titles. Outside of going undefeated and winning the third state title in a row, what is going to define success for this Malcolm group in 2025?
There's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure the boys have on themselves, a lot of pressure us coaches have on ourselves and the team, a lot of pressure from the community. But, just going out and competing every game. We don't want to have one of those games where we come out and lay an egg. We want to be competitive. Like you said before, with the numbers that we have, if someone's in a slump, we got to have guys that can step up and, take that spot and fight for it all season. Obviously, we would love to go undefeated and win third state championship, but it's going to be extremely hard. Class C is going to be pretty loaded this year. A lot of returning starters coming back. So it'll be interesting but fun season this year.
Talk with coaches on all classes now, and I think it's as wide open, all classes, as they kind of ever been. And I'm excited. I'm excited for the spring. I think it's going to be fireworks all spring with really good baseball from top to bottom, from start to finish. So I couldn't thank you enough for coming on and talking a little Malcolm Clipper baseball before the 2025 season. We wish you nothing but the best and good luck this year.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Thank you all for listening to the All Beef No Filler podcast. Join us again next week as we continue our chat with the coaches around the state.